The dark past of JAX during his life. The story of the amazing digital circus is starting to reveal its darker side. What we saw in episode 7 was absolutely speechless for a full 32 minutes. Yeah, that might sound a bit exaggerated, but trust me, this episode easily became one of my favorites out of all 7 episodes so far. How could I possibly forget the massive plot twist that unfolded throughout the entire episode? Everything felt incredibly smooth, to the point where no one realized that, in the end, it was all just a prank. And yes, we all know there's no 100% guarantee that what happened in episode 7 was a pure adventure created by Kane. Many people believe that Kane was just an alibi. Others argue that the administrator room actually does function as a way to remove players from the digital circus. But we already saw how all of that ended painfully because of JAX and Pomni's lack of mental readiness. It's ironic, really. When it comes to JAX, there's no doubt that he was the star of this episode. Aside from the mission to escape the digital world, the episode also placed a strong spotlight on him. His sense of loneliness and even the stage set to show glimpses of his past when he was still in the real world were clearly emphasized. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. I'm pretty sure many of you noticed and clearly saw those brief flashes during that moment. Even though they only appeared for 1 or 2 frames, we were actually shown around 4 quick flashbacks from JAX's memories. Let's break down each frame one by one so the discussion flows more smoothly. One of the flashback frames we see appears when JAX starts losing control of his anxiety. The image shows a residential complex, an area that, if you're familiar with it, strongly resembles neighborhoods commonly found in the United States. Of course, I can't say for certain that this location is actually in America. The next flashback frame is essentially the same, just from a slightly different angle. The location remains unchanged, so we can move on without diving too deep into it. Some of you might be wondering why JAX's memories focus on a residential area. There are a few possible explanations. First, if you look at the point of view in the image, it's not actually JAX's direct POV. It appears to be the perspective from a car's dashboard. We can assume this was JAX's car and that he was driving somewhere. The flashback captures him passing through an intersection within a residential neighborhood. The next 2 frames make things even clearer. After leaving the neighborhood, JAX is now driving alone on a dark road, surrounded by trees on both sides, most likely a forest. When you compare these frames to the earlier flashbacks, you'll notice a strong contrast. And what is it? Time. In the first frame, the lighting suggests late afternoon moving into evening. There's still a bit of light, but in the forest scene it's completely dark, clearly nighttime. This indicates a significant gap in time between the 2 locations. I'm not going to discuss where JAX was actually going. Instead, I want to focus on why this particular flashback was shown to us. From the 4 frames we're given, they all point to one clear idea. JAX was traveling at night. However, the exact reason, why he was traveling, what exactly happened, how it unfolded, and why it matters remains unknown. No one can say for sure. That said, there are at least 2 reasonable theories worth breaking down. The first theory is that JAX hit someone and caused their death. Sounds crazy, right? But this theory exists because of a small detail that appears in the first 2 flashback frames, if you pay close attention. At the far end of the road, we can see a speed limit sign showing 20 kilometers per hour, along with a warning sign indicating that children frequently cross the area. These signs are actually very common in residential neighborhoods, especially in places like the United States. It might seem like a stretch to say that these warning signs are the key to what happened to JAX, but Glitch Productions is known for including tiny details that carry significant meaning, and this warning sign in JAX's flashback could be one of them. Of course, this doesn't automatically confirm that JAX hit someone, let alone a child. There's still a missing piece in this theory. But if this first theory is true, it would explain why JAX refuses to return to the real world, because he isn't mentally prepared to face the reality that he may have killed someone. The second theory is far more plausible and focuses on the last 2 flashback frames, which take place in the forest. According to this theory, JAX was involved in an accident while driving through the woods. It's possible that he crashed into trees along the road, especially since there doesn't appear to be any kind of barrier or guardrail on either side of the road. This is the simplest theory, also the most reasonable one regarding JAX's condition before he entered the circus world. If it really was caused by an accident, then the situation would be similar to Gangle, who was given clear foreshadowing in episode 4 when she experienced an accident. But let's think about it again. Would JAX really suffer that level of anxiety just because of a car accident in the forest? It feels a bit off, doesn't it? That's why there's actually one more theory that could explain why JAX is so terrified of his past. past, JAX may have been running from someone. This idea can be supported by the pacing of the flashback sequence, which makes it feel as if JAX is being chased. And when you look at it more closely, it's also somewhat unusual that JAX ended up on this road in the first place. I might be overanalyzing, but the road JAX was driving on appears to be an alternative route rather than a main road. The environment supports this idea. The road is deep in the forest, there are no guardrails, no streetlights on either side, and only a few warning signs. This suggests that JAX deliberately chose a back road. But for what reason? To avoid someone? To escape from something that ultimately cost him his life? Well, this is just my analysis, based on patterns and the flashback frames we were shown. Some of you also believe that the reason JAX pressed the red button and chose to stay in the circus was because Kane invaded his mind. While that could be possible in this particular moment, it doesn't seem to be the case. This decision was purely driven by JAX's fear of returning to the real world. You can see it clearly when he's walking down the hallway, his expression already shows fear. And it all culminates in the moment he presses the wrong button.